All right.
Um,
Let's go over your testimony, people here. So here's a young lady that went to Egypt to save her mother from marrying a Muslim man. She ended up falling in love with a Muslim man. He deceived her into thinking he's marrying her when it was temporary marriage. So what happened?
Correct. So I started trying to understand Islam because I was married to a Muslim, or well, I thought I was married to a Muslim, and I hadn't really, wasn't brought up Christian. I wasn't brought up any religion at all. I wasn't atheist, but I just had no clue about anything really. And um, thanks to God's grace, I got pregnant, and my Muslim husband became very, very, very abusive and violent. And so I left. I ran back to the UK with my baby. And thanks to God, very quickly after my son was born, I became a born again Christian. And I started to be told by so many people, oh, you know, you should raise your son Muslim. It's not fair. Because I don't know if you all know this, Sam, you probably do, but Muslims always presume that the child is a Muslim, even if it's born
Yes.
to a Christian or a Buddhist or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
So this scared me because from what I had seen of Islam, it was not the kind of thing that I wanted to raise my child in. Mostly, well, for many reasons, but mostly because I could see that they were deceived big
Yep.
time.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. And it was really interesting because a while ago I saw a video that you had said about Christian women. You said, I can't remember exactly what the topic was at the time, but you had said Christian women should evangelize to Muslim women
Yep.
and not to Muslim men.
Exactly.
That Christian man should evangelize to a Muslim man and not the other way around. And
Precisely.
the reason that you gave for that was exactly spot on. I could have sworn that you had had some kind of insight into the mind of a woman who'd fallen for a Muslim man. But it was exactly right. They're very good at, I can only from my personal experience, I
Yes.
think because they're so used to being deceived by their imams, by their families, by the culture. They're so used to being deceived that it's very easy for them to deceive. And so it's very easy to fall in love with them.
Yep. That's because they know how to sweet talk you and bamboozle you until they get you, and then they treat you like Allah and His messenger.
Yeah. And I think that, there's a lot of the religious education that most Muslims get is almost none. And most of them can't read or write. I'm not saying this across, broadly across all Muslims, but especially with my experience of kind of poor and working class Egyptian Muslims, most can't read. They certainly can't read the Quran. And so what they get is this kind of filtered version of whatever the imam wants to tell them. So
Yeah.
they tend to have a real heart for God. And this is what breaks my heart. This is why I still get upset with the whole Islamic thing, is because they seem to have a real heart for God, but they have such a warped idea of who God is because they don't recognize Jesus. They don't understand the Trinity, that they latch on to the very worst parts of defending Islam because they're trying to defend a God that they have a heart for but don't understand.
Yep. That's why I tell people that most Muslims are very uneducated about the religious tradition, don't know it, and most of them, because they don't know the religion, are just human beings who are struggling and have the same issues we do, and you cannot demonize them because they're victims. So you're confirming everything I've said.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
let me ask you this question: why did your mom want to marry a Muslim man? What happened?
Well, because he was very handsome and he was very attractive and he said all the right things.
What happened to your father?
Oh, unfortunately they divorced when I was very young. So yeah, she wanted something more exotic, shall we say?
Yeah,
Le-
us Middle Eastern men, right?
right.
Bald and hairy. We have hair on our ears and our nose and on our chest. So that's what.
Listen, I have a very handsome, exotic son, so I'm a big
That's
fan
because he
of.
took your side. Yeah, he took your side.
Yeah, He's wonderful. So yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I know I'm not the only woman in the world that has the only Christian woman in the world who has technically a Muslim child. I've always raised him to love Christ.
Yeah.
So, but
Sister,
it is tricky.
let me share some with you without giving away identity. There are people in my channel who are mods. They're married to Muslim men and have children,
Mm-hmm.
and they're now struggling because, and I can't mention names. I'm not going to betray
Of
them,
course.
but they're my mods. They know who they are. They are now struggling because the husband wants to raise the children Islamically. The
Mm-hmm.
wife says no. And I know one sister, which I can't mention her name, may God guard her heart.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, who was a Muslim, walked away and left her and her children because of it. And his family are demonizing her and the children because the children took the side of the mother and want to be followers of the Lord Jesus Christ. Because, see, God knows what's best for us. He knows what's damaging and what's harmful for us. That's why he gives you rules, not because he's a taskmaster and hates us. He designed you. The creator knows what's best for you, and he's giving you commands because he loves you and what's best for you. And he's telling you, people, look, put it this way, even in the Christian tradition, two people from two different Christian traditions will have a hard time. For
Yeah,
instance, if your wife is Catholic and yet your husband is a Baptist, you're going to clash even though you have the same God, because the Baptist says no infant baptism, and baptism doesn't save, and the bread and the grape juice are not the actual body, blood of Christ. So even in the Christian tradition, where we worship the same God, love the same God, the triune God, have the same Jesus, same Bible, we can't even agree on this, and it causes problems among those who have the same God. How much more problems will you have when you now marry someone of a completely different tradition?
I agree. Yeah, completely.
But
I mean,
that's
my mother was married to her Muslim husband for
who?
my mother. She didn't marry the first Egyptian that I tried to stop her from marrying, but she did marry another
Oh
and
my
was
God.
married to him for 15 years. And I do think that it was definitely more of a love marriage than mine was, but it was just too complicated. And I've also tried to be very fair with the father of my with the father of my son, to try and allow him access to my son, not physically, because I don't know if you all know this, but a lot of times, especially if I took my son to Egypt, he's old enough now that this wouldn't happen, but I could have lost custody to my son in a
Oh yeah.
heartbeat.
No, I know that. In Islam,
Yeah,
Islamic law, Sharia law, the children belong to the men, not to
right.
the.
And yet, Sam, there are huge. I don't live in the UK anymore, but there are huge parts of London where I grew up where it's effectively under Sharia law, and there's a huge. I don't know if you know this, but there's a huge problem in the UK with Muslim populations really
Of course.
dominating, and I don't think people really understand that what Sharia law means. They can literally, if you decide that you want to raise your child a Christian, but the father says no, he's a Muslim, you've got no. That's it. You've lost the child. The child is
That's in
gone.
the UK. I want people. I already
And
know
that's
UK.
in the UK. I mean,
Hear that?
even 10 years ago when I was, or 15 years ago when I was trying to escape Egypt pregnant and could have been stopped at the airport, even being pregnant without the child being born, there were cases across the Middle East where women who had been in my situation in Dubai and Saudi, etc., they were having their children physically removed from them and were not allowed them back.
Exactly.
But now it's happening in the UK,
Yep.
in London. It's not being documented heavily because obviously nobody wants to be accused of being racist, but it's a real
Let,
problem. It's not just a problem.
let alone the
It,
grooming gangs that is so prevalent in UK. You know who's the warrior, the hero?
yeah,
Who's the
Mr. Tommy Robinson.
You got it. Now, you
Tommy,
guys,
Tommy, Tommy.
guys,
We love Tommy.
you really need to be praying for,
Yeah,
supporting Tommy Robinson, because
we
for the
must.
last 10 years, he's been warning UK about the grooming gangs where they're taking young girls, getting them addicted to drugs, and then prostituting them. And some even end up getting murdered.